This is a trigger warning for the following episode since we speak about mental health, so we will be speaking about some sensitive topics. This is also a disclaimer that we use some dark humour and bad words as well, so if this is not the podcast for you, you can scroll on, but if this sounds good to you, come in.
What it is, by the way?
Aye.
I'm dying to know because I've been told, I don't know if we're rolling, that there's a big confession coming in this episode.
There's a big confession coming in this episode.
Right. I'm dying to know what it is.
You might find out if we last with an hour.
An hour, right.
I think we're going to go 5 hours, but we'll try and keep it on the hour, right?
Aye, we'll give it a go.
So anyone that doesn't know Jude Morrow, probably 3 people. Tell the 3 people who Jude Morrow is. Where do you come from?
What's your name? Like Cilla Black?
What's your name? Where do you come from?
So, but God, who is Jude Morrow? That's a good question. I'm many things to many people. Son, dad,
Right.
brother, author, social worker, business owner, Zen consultant, skydiver, cat lover, writer of books. Did I say that? Did I say author already?
No, but I should have asked, what does Jude Morrow not do? And I'm sure it would have been shorter.
What do I not do? Jeez. That's a really good question. I'm kind of stumped now. What do I not do? I kind of do everything. I'm just one of these people. I live life with a rocket up my arse.
You do. You're actually really amazing.
That's
Everything that you do.
That's the autistic and ADHD-ness.
How did we meet, first of all? How long do we know each other?
I don't remember my life without Jenna in it. I don't remember a time of not knowing you.
I think we were born in the same ward.
It must have been. Must have been. Might have the same father too.
Do you know what? Actually, I've been questioning that recently.
No, I don't remember my life without you in it.
No, I know. Isn't that crazy?
It seems like I know you forever. I don't remember a time where I was like formally introduced to you. Like we were Waynes. Like
We were always good friends from very young.
this is before we had Waynes of our own and responsibilities and having
Responsibilities. You were young when you became a daddy, though, weren't you?
I was. I was only 22 when Ethan was born.
Well, that's kind of old.
And Ethan's big and cheeky now. And
What age is he then?
he's 11.
He's 11.
He's 11. He's an old boy now, and he's autistic and ADHD as well.
As I actually, that was going to be one of my questions coming up to you about that, but thank you for answering it.
Our house is brilliant crack.
I would say so. Going through school, how were you? What school did you go to?
I went to the model primary, and what's kind of unique about me is I was among the first wave of autistic and ADHD children to go through the mainstream school system.
Right.
But it's easy for me to say.
Aye.
Because see if I was born in 1980 instead of 1990, I probably would have went to special needs school. Now, I'm not dissing special needs schools, but the quality and the regulation of special needs education in the mid-90s was far less than what it is now.
Right.
So the quality was much less and resources were much less. And I went to mainstream school and I went to the model primary.
So did you have your diagnosis before going to school?
Oh no, I was just a cheeky wee sod.
Right, okay.
I was slow and cheeky and stupid and awkward and confrontational and you know all the usual stuff. So I was all of those things and I had like a classroom assistant with me everywhere and it was just a bit surreal. It was
So would they have thought that you were dyslexic? Because that's kind of what they dealt with everyone that was kind of behind everybody else. Didn't they were like, you're dyslexic, go into that room, learn how to spell.
With me, no, I loved reading. I loved reading books and I could read everything. Like see in my nursery, it was, do you know the Stardust? Do you know where the credit union is? There used to be a playgroup on there.
Right.
And I went whenever I was away, and then I got turfed out of that one, or asked politely to leave, depending on who you're talking to. And then I went to Frederick Street Playgroup around the corner. I was a mixed abilities playgroup, and they had a wee library full of books. Well, that I remembered really, really vividly, and I used to arrange all the wee books. And a book I used to read all the time is The Very Hungry Caterpillar. And
Over and over again?
I was just reading the same book over and over and over again, and people were asking me questions about it, and I was able to answer, like pointing, because I couldn't really talk.
So were you mute? Were you speaking a wee bit? What way was your vocal?
Do you know what my thing was makes and models of cars?
Right.
I knew every make and model of car. See, whenever I do like live stuff, like live shows, I always start off with the first indication that I was different was I used to line up my toy cars in the windowsill in my parents' house, and then always get that wee nod from people in the crowd whenever I look out. You know, I always get
and they remember. They know.
They know because they'd be like, that look means my one does that too. So I had like makes and models of cars. Yes, no, please, thank you, pass off. Just the usuals that 3-year-olds have.
Hi. So my nephew, he is 10 now, and he is non-verbal. but he is obsessed with supermarkets. And I mean obsessed. Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Lidl. He has to go there every single day. I actually seen him there yesterday, and I could hear him like squealing with pure delight. He just loves it. Just this pure addiction to the supermarkets. Isn't it fascinating that people pick specific things?
What people are into, but
to be addicted to.
But you see, the thing is as well, we all know your thing is candles and scents and stuff like that. You're saying he's obsessed with supermarkets. Can I say about you, you're obsessed with candles?
True.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, why is there a socially acceptable interest or hobby or anything else? Because some people are into really, really weird shit. You know, well, like supermarkets, I can see past that one. Like, people are into trains, gaming, feet. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like, people are into loads of different shit.
Well, I mean, if you looked at my Google search history, I'd probably go to jail for a very long time. Say nothing about that.
No, we'll edit that out.
We just said all the bad things that will incriminate us. You were always really eccentric.
Oh, aye.
Always grown up, and you never tried to hide it.
No.
Whereas I did. I tried to hide my weirdness.
And that's the thing, like, I'm proud of you, like, because I remember you saying to me, it must have been about 6 months ago, I want to do a podcast. And I remember sending you voice notes, go on, Jenna, you can do it. And you're all, no, I can't, I'm too nervous. Just do it, just go for it. And look, we're here in your lovely house, and you've got a plant and a trophy and a sign and a logo and everything.
I know, like everything.
That's brilliant. It's like, because you were, like, you were sort of quiet. You were a one word or less kind of gal.
When I was growing up.
Aye, but then everybody's kind of like that to me whenever...
I was always really awkward, and not only that, I found, like, I was so gullible, and I still am, so the most gullible person you'll ever meet, which is kind of lousy on me. Thank God my sisters are here to protect me in this earth, because...
Is it gullible or trusting?
Not gullible. Want to hear this first story, right? So my friends in school, actually, this is low-key bullying if you think about it. They would always think of the maddest things to tell me. Right. And I'd believe them, and I'd be like, what? Oh my God. So they went to Belfast Uni, and I was up here in McGee like a loser. So every Thursday I would go down to them. As well. I work because we're losers. We're losers. So every Thursday was like a theme night in Belfast, so I would go down and visit them. So we were all having a carry-out, which is now called Prees.
Praise.
They call it praise.
That's what the young people say now, the young cool people.
So back in the day when we were growing up, it was carry-out, the CO.
Aye.
And we were sitting drinking, and I looked up, and there was a big lampshade, and it was all like hanging off, and I was like, what happened to the lampshade? And straight away one of them said, did you not hear last week? A baby giraffe escaped out of Belfast Zoo, came into our house, and ate our lampshade. And I was all, what? Well, I literally couldn't believe it. And they were like, the police were here. I was like, how did you get it out? All the police came, and the zookeeper came and got it out, right? So that was grand. They went to burn. I was sitting in the nightclub that night when we drank all, that's mad there.
But that really happened.
Babies drove out of all the houses in Belfast, came onto my friend's house. That was grand, totally forgot about it. Monday morning, I went out in a driving lesson with one of their daddies. And he was like, how was it there down in Belfast, any madness? And I was like, did you hear the crack? A baby giraffe broke into their house and ate the lampshade. And he's like, Jesus, she never told me that. Later on that night, I was sitting and I got a phone call from one of the girls. Is there something wrong with you? We were joking with you. A baby giraffe hardly broke into our house. And I was like, but you still insane.
Like I was trying to make you feel better by saying, are you gullible or trusting? No, you're gullible.
I am 1,000,000%. I am so gullible. You can tell me something, and if you need to tell me physically if you're lying or if you're telling the truth, or I'll not know.
But that sounds like something that would actually happen to me.
The giraffe breaking into your house?
Oh, easy.
Oh, right.
If a giraffe's going to break into any house, it would be mine. Right?
Probably mine as well.
Like, see if I go skiing. Now, I've never been skiing in my life, ever, and I can't go skiing, as far as I know.
Why?
Because higher skis only go up to a 12. My shoes are 14 and a half or a 15.
Look at you showing off now.
No, but you know what, though? I feel left out, because I can't do it.
They're quite big. Shoes.
Like I can't, so I feel left out. So it's only because I can't do it.
I feel like that's also discrimination. You only need to write a complaint of some sort there.
I'd have to get higher skis now in typical ADHD fashion. I can't remember where I was going with that. I remember now. But see, eventually they decide to have 14 and a half higher skis, and I hire the skis. And there's a warning sign. There's one tree in the mountain. Please be careful. I'm sure you can finish the rest of the story. I'd slam into the tree.
I feel like I'm very unfortunate because I got you know, I had a divorce and I lost my business, and then of course I'm going to break my back, because who else would that happen to? Me? I'm just so unfortunate like that. Back to this is why I have points, because I know.
Oh, we're going to go on a tangent now.
When do one? This is why I have notes for you. So
how many notes do you have, just out of interest? How many cards are there?
It's just bullet points for me. It's not even for you.
Right.
It's like, Jenna,
there's loads.
Jenna, listen to what he is saying. Jenna, do not think about what you're making for dinner tomorrow. No, so when you back before the baby giraffe, at what point on growing up did you feel, or your family feel, we might need to see a professional about Jude's behaviour or Jude's...
All the time. Like, I was the first kind of thing was I was looking at things with the sides of my eyes.
Right.
Like this. I was doing that, and I wasn't really talking, and I wasn't walking or anything. I wasn't doing the whole developmental milestones thing.
Okay.
So I wasn't doing that, and then I went to a couple of play groups. And then school, like I had like speech therapy, and like all the way through primary school, like going to special needs school was never taken off the table. Like I had more professionals than Hannibal Lecter at one point. They were everywhere. They were all around me at all points.
Still doesn't work.
I know. And like going up through school, like I wasn't diagnosed with anything. I was just a naughty little boy.
Right.
And while I was...
So were you flat out being detained and expelled and suspended, or no?
No, you know what? They were actually quite good,
right?
To be fair, where I had a couple of good teachers. Like school was mostly kind of positive, and then I was diagnosed then when I was 11.
Aye. So did the diagnosis, first of all, back on when you were 11, what way did the diagnosis work then?
It was done whenever I was at school, and she came in. And because I needed to go to secondary school at that point, I'd made it through mainstream primary to P7 against all the odds. I had bookie wouldn't have taken that bet, never was in P1 or P2.
Like Guard of Honour and all, whenever you were picking at your last day out.
Oh no, I had fly pass and a brass band and all, flags everywhere, and I was done then, but I wasn't told or anything.
Right.
I wasn't told then because there was big stigma back then. There was no people like talking into their phone screen saying being autistic and ADHD is okay back then. It was an omen, and you know, so I wasn't far off.
Told, was your parents told, or did this go on to any notes, or what?
No, it was done. It was Asperger type autism, as it was called then.
And did that change? Did that diagnosis change anything for you personally? The way you led your life going forward?
Well, I didn't know about it, but here's the thing, like. I've talked about this a lot. Like people ask questions like, you know, how does autism affect you, or how did the diagnosis change you? It didn't. I was the same person, like all the way through. Like from then until now, I'm still the same person. Do you know? I haven't changed or anything, but I've always had that outsider thing, where it was like, you know, all these people can do small talk and sarcasm and all that. I remember there's a specific moment, and it was in about third year. So I was 14 at the college, and I had a sickening realisation one time. I was like, I am and always will be too intense for 99% of people. You know, if I go into a room, people will know I'm there.
Right. I'm the opposite.
Like, you're beige wallpaper.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Do you think? One-on-one, one or two people at most. But if I need to go into a room with more than that, you won't know I'm there. I'll probably leave.
Like, I don't know. It's strange. It's like you say, like I'm like loud, elaborate, extroverted. I've always been like that. I've just been a bit of a class clown or a village idiot.
What was the realisation then in third year that you had? What was that specific event that you were about to say there that made you realise?
That was it. I was just thinking about it one day because, like, as you grow more socially aware as you go through your teens, you know, like wee cliques and things like that.
And did you have a group of friends in the college?
Not really, no. No. I've always had a kind of small circle. Like, I would say I'm very good at passing myself or masking or whatever the term the kids are using these days, but I have a very small group. Like, I mean, a very small group of close friends. Yeah, like, I mean, less than what Jesus had. I was going to say 12 there, but one stabbed in the back. 11. Less than that.
I'm the same. Like, my friends who are my friends now are my friends since, for same as you, years and years and years. I find it hard to make new friends. But I am in the process of...
Is this the big reveal? Is this a big reveal?
Aye. So I am in the process of, and I mean the very, very start of hopefully a diagnosis of some sort. I know I have OCD. I've had it since I've 8. I've been diagnosed since I've been 16. Medicated since I've been 21 with OCD. The others I've never been really 100% about, but it would make more sense. So the older I'm getting, the more I think that I actually could be autistic.
Is this the bit where I'm supposed to be surprised?
I've had to interrupt the episode so that I can do a sneaky wee plug of my own business, the one that I actually work to make an income from. So I make all my own wax melts, room sprays, reed diffusers, carpet fresheners, car air fresheners, anything that smells good and makes your house and car smell good, I can make it. So it's called House of Scents. I'll also tag it here. And this is where you will find your new favourite fragrance product. Right, so I am in the very early stages, the starting process of going for a diagnosis. I have OCD. I've had OCD since I was 8. Medicated since I was 16. And there is something else. I think autistic.
Is this the bit where I'm supposed to be surprised?
Yes.
Right, because see, with you, like, I would totally. Why do you think we've always got on?
Do you know what though? When I think about could I be autistic, could I have ADHD, I am the polar opposite. Do you though? But our minds are alike.
But
Does that make sense?
But you can't think of autism and ADHD like the common cold,
Aye.
feeling a wee bit rotten, wee bit coughy, wee bit spluttery, wee bit muscle achy.
But this is the thing. When I was growing up, I thought ADHD couldn't sit at a pace, jumping all around, loud, couldn't concentrate. Whereas the opposite, I was so quiet in school. I finished all my lessons. I studied my balls off. I don't have balls anymore because I've studied them off.
Oh, I was gonna say, is there other part of it, the transition or something?
I was so good. This is what I mean. I was so good. I was so under the radar. But I was also almost borderline mute at the same time.
But I remember seeing some of my old, like, notes and medical stuff. Like, you would never have been considered for autism or ADHD as a child because it was primarily for young boys. It said it's a developmental and social disorder among young and adolescent boys. So not only were girls excluded, but I was to grow out of it. And I'm still waiting to grow out of it. But this is no word of a lie, right? See, when I started doing this, like, see the whole coming out and being public about being autistic and ADHD, when I did that, nobody else did that. I was like...
Did you do a big coming out story?
I did. I had a big book launch about it, and it was all over the paper.
Wait, Daddy,
My first book.
sad.
And that was 2018.
So what was it? Because, as I say, I've always known you as eccentric. That's all I knew you as anyway. So again, I'm not surprised that you come out as autistic or anything. I thought ADHD as well, possibly, but I didn't know that, like, no one knew about it, if that makes sense. I didn't know you surprised everyone with an actual full-on book on it.
No, but it wasn't like the reaction that I got was the same as what you just got there now. But whenever I was like, I'm autistic, and then people were like, I know. And I was like, oh. Like, I was expecting people to be like, you? I never, ever, ever would have thought the child with no sense of danger, or that obsesses about things, that overthinks things, that barely sleeps, that only eats a certain amount of foods in certain quantities at certain times of the day, has had the same routine roughly since the age of 2, sleeps with windows open, and has very specific clothing requirements, is autistic. No way, Jude, get the fuck out of town. I never got that.
So some of the things...
You're not going to get it either.
No, some of the things that you're saying, I'm going, aye, that's me, aye. And then some going, no, that's not me. I eat the same food every day, at the exact same time for the past million years. I listen to the same songs every day in the same playlist every day. The girls in work be so fed up working with me. Things like that. But the way my OCD affected me when I was really bad, though, when you tell people you have OCD, they say, oh, your house must be really clean. No. That's not OCD. That's just being particular.
Yeah.
So my OCD affected me, and it actually took a lot for me to say this at the time, because that's scary. Your mind can be so scary sometimes. So my OCD affected me in the way of counting. So I had to count everything, counting up my stairs every day. There's 13 stairs in my house. There will always be 13 stairs in my house, but I have to count them every day. Now, this is before medication. Thankfully, medication has just dampened things for me a wee bit.
Aye.
If I didn't count those stairs, someone would come into my house and kill my entire family.
Yeah, I was literally going to say the biggest misdiagnosis. Now, in your case, it's certainly not, but in a lot of cases of misdiagnostics of autism, particularly in women and girls, is OCD. And people do ask, what is the difference? Like being autistic and having a clean house and everything, that's having a keen sense of order. But where it becomes OCD is the idea that something bad will happen.
Yeah.
And I was thinking maybe she'll say it. Like the OCD was out a wee bit there before we started. We could not start rolling until that wee cupboard over there was closed and secured, shut. And it was like, we can't start until this is on. We can't start. There's no key.
No. If the door in my house even is open and I'm on my bed upstairs, I can feel it. I don't know. It's just this real frustration that I have. So I know it must really frustrate you when people say to you, oh, but sure, do people who have autism not do this, that, you know?
I read that into science and maths and, you know, dinosaurs and trains.
Just what they kind of read on Google, and then when they hear the real facts of what OCD for me is like, then they're like, oh my God, right, that is quite bad then. And it's really mentally exhausting as well.
Aye.
But again, because I do take medication and I you know, do other things to help that, it has dampened it down. But when I'm particularly stressed, I can feel it again and I'm starting to count again, and you know, I'm able to practice, you know, the things that I've learned over time. But I've had it now for so long that my sisters knew, and you know, I was so particular when I was a child. I wouldn't let anyone sit on my bed, like just sit and talk to me. I'd be like, don't, and I'd panic, please don't sit in my bed, and they would laugh about it now, whereas it was so like mentally hard for me.
It's hard for people to understand, because a lot of what people think is trivial to them is really, really important to you. And people don't get that. Where, you know, the worst thing, whenever you're talking about anything mental health, do you know the worst thing that people do, and this is going to turn into a rant that'll probably need a lot of edits, is people, and I don't know if this is a Derry thing or this is a around the world thing. Now, I haven't got this in New York or anywhere else, or London or anywhere else. It seems to be a very exclusively Derry thing, is that people will share the same concern as you to make you feel better. Because what I always got was, sure, we're all a wee bit autistic, aren't we? No. Or sure, we're all a wee bit OCD. Have you ever got that one?
I was going to ask you actually what your stance on that statement of, do you not think everyone is on the spectrum?
No. What
is your thoughts on that?
Because what makes us autistic is that we have a sensory processing and interaction difference. And there's certain parameters that need to be met. Yes, people can be particular and people can have preferences, but if those particularities or particulars or preferences are enough to ruin your whole day, then maybe it's something else.
Yeah.
Where people try and say, oh, but sure, that happened to me too. Like, see if you say, oh, you know, you were talking about breaking your back, and then I say, oh, sure, I know how you feel. Sure, I threw my hip out in a skydiving accident. You know, you're telling me, you're disclosing something and displaying a vulnerability. Yeah. And then I'm coming back at you with something else where it sort of diminishes it.
It actually happened to me the day, not about the back, when I was telling someone I have OCD, and they were like, oh, you know, I'm the same, see in my house, my picture frames, and I just thought, here we go, the picture frames in the house, they have to match. I know, I say no.
Did you look at her and think, well, ma'am, you're the reason my podcast exists. We need to talk about this. And it's people think they're being comforting. But
I get that as well. I do. And sometimes it's awkward for people as well. If you turn around and say, oh, I have OCD, they're going, the same. You know, they don't know what else to say, which is fair enough. But again, this is why the podcast exists. We get to give out the real information from the real people that have actual diagnosis of the actual problems, illnesses, what do you call them?
That live with it. But here's something that's getting to me as well, is that you would think in the advent of social media and platforms like this and what you're doing, that people would find it easier talking about mental health. Now, I was told a couple of people I was coming on here before I did. And I got a message a few weeks ago, and it really struck a chord, and I was thinking, God, if I get one message about something, there's probably several hundred that are thinking the same thing, but aren't going to say.
Okay.
Where you would see, and I saw it on your page, you know, things like trigger warnings.
Yes.
You know, because I will never apologise or give a trigger warning for talking about suicide, because autistic people, on average, have a life expectancy of 30, 60, 54. So I'm 34 now.
Right.
And it's kind of at the stage now where, and then me with the skydiving as well. So, I mean, my life insurance premium's pretty much nil.
Why do autistic people have that life expectancy age? What does the deal with that? Like, why?
Lack of healthcare. So first of all, like, I am a stressor overthinker. Like, I am a perfectionist. Like, I almost live every day thinking I'm a failure if something doesn't go my way. Where, see, like, with books, if I get 600 5-star reviews and I get one 1-star,
I feel that
I see that 1-star, I will focus on that 1-star.
and it'll ruin your day.
And
your week.
It'll ruin a lot more than that. Or anything like, I was just saying before we came on, I was in Skydive Spain, did a couple of brilliant jumps, butterfly landing, Mary Poppins into the landing area. One jump wasn't great, and I'm still annoyed about it.
Right, okay.
Like, that's the way it is. It's the overthinking part that kind of gets to me. But people are starting to become afraid to speak out because of people are being triggered. Where people like me die younger. With heart attacks, strokes, addiction, and higher rates of suicide.
But what about the people who are basically on the brink of suicide, thinking about it, contemplating it, and they don't see a trigger warning, and it comes straight into my video and I say, I was about to jump the key because I felt like that was the only thing to do. That if someone is in psychosis, first of all, they will think that's a message directed to them to tell them to jump the bridge. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, but you can't win either.
No, you can't win. That's why you just, for social media, we have to, that's just what you have to do. That's the rules, trigger warning. If I am talking to someone about it, I'll not say, oh, trigger warning, you know, and then tell you a story. Only on social media, because first of all, it's kind of the rules, do you know what I mean? And then second of all, I'm dealing, well, a lot of the people that follow my page are mentally vulnerable or going through something, but that's not me. But that's not your stance. You don't put trigger warnings on anything.
No, I don't, because here's the thing. See that person that you were talking about in that message? See if they saw a trigger warning. What if they scroll past the message that could have saved their life?
But they're not thinking about saving their life.
But then a lifeline. That's the thing, where things need to be talked about. And this was the message that I got.
Okay,
right?
yes.
The message I got was, I really want to talk about and blog my journey about being autistic. And she did. And she got a pile of comments under it. You should have issued a trigger warning for this. And she had spent 6 months building up the mental fortitude to come out and try and have a positive influence.
So, I mean, I know what you're saying.
And she got criticised for
trigger
it.
warning for autism.
But she had discussed about being diagnosed autistic, having several inpatient stays at mental health hospitals around Ireland, north and south, that she had engaged in self-harm and stuff like that, and was saying all these things like, this is my past, this is what I was doing, and got a lot of comments about trigger warnings. And she has said, I will never say anything ever again. I had so many ideas, and I know from having known her quite a long time that she would have such an impactful, powerful message that nobody will hear, because the terminally offended sections of social media
So
were triggered.
She really made herself so vulnerable, and then she kind of got this backlash instead of people going, thank you for your vulnerability.
Yeah.
But I can see both ways. Do you know what I mean? I can see both ways in that.
Because how we make progress is by having conversations. And often the people that are often most triggered by the things that trigger warnings are meant for are the people who need the message the most.
Right, okay. No, I get what you're saying as well.
That's what I find, because, I mean, as far as hating social media, God, I could wallpaper my house with it. At this stage. God, you know what? Sometimes in some sections, you know what? You know me, like I'm a big cuddly bear. My heart's in the right place. And sometimes my tone can be very intense, direct, and as subtle as a belly full of birdshot or a kick in the balls, whatever. It can be. But some people just can't handle it. I think we're going through a validation crisis at the minute. where it's so everybody needs validated all the time. Everybody needs you're doing a lovely job, you're doing great, and your clothes are lovely, your hair, everything has to be lovely all the time.
Right.
And then whenever I come on and say, well, look, maybe you should try this or do this and do that.
Sorry. Do you remember what I posted on
What?
your post the other night?
What?
You did this whole big message and you were like, basically, I appreciate everyone's support, but I also have a life. Please don't message me.
Yes.
And what did I write?
You would though. But I know you though. You don't kind of count on that.
Also, I don't count you. Thank you.
But I mean, but what I'm talking about is, and you will get this now with this podcast.
Yeah.
People will be messaging you looking for advice.
Yes. Yeah.
Because one thing I've got back into is self-care. Like, you're the same as me. You're a workaholic. Like, it's just this empire, this brand, like, it is your whole life, other than when you're asleep. But probably when you're asleep, you dream about it.
Yes, I do.
I'm the same. I love what I do. I don't feel like I work. But sometimes...
How lucky are we, though? How lucky are we to get to do that?
It is, but it does have its drawbacks as well.
does.
So let's say I'm at home and I'm having Marks and Spencer's cheese with Mrs. Arnold, and I get a 10-minute voice note through Facebook Messenger, my personal messenger, about how their child is suicidal and stuff like that. Can you
it's
please
not fair.
advise? At 10 o'clock at night.
No, I get that. It's not fair.
It's like, it can be relentless at times, and it's very, very hard to deal with. And even if I put out, please only message me within working hours, because as well, to believe it or not, it's my living.
Yes.
As well,
Yes.
giving people advice and consultancy and stuff like that.
Because you are a trained social worker as well.
Aye, and counsellor.
Do you know what I mean? Jack of all trades. So, of course, I'm going to message you.
I can't wear a plug pot. Do you see them? Do you see them?
I can wear
Do you know what they are?
They are great hands.
They are soft, beautiful hands for a 34-year-old man. Aye, more high. Look, callous, more than mine.
No, not Cal. Hot. Love
Aye.
that, because I work
I know.
work my hands all day. But
And no cream or nothing. That's just not owning a toolbox.
they're great. They're great hands.
No, they're model hands, I know.
Completely forgot now.
What were we on
Typical
about?
ADHD. Wasn't even listening to you, to be honest. It's
No.
thinking about what I'm having for my dinner tomorrow.
Did you have that joke down?
No.
Did you? That was very good. That was delivered well.
I'm all learned from myself. Romantic relationships and personal relationships. How has so I suppose me saying how has it affected, you don't really know because this is the way you are, but do you think that there is a difference between, say, you in relationships and your non-autistic friends and their relationships?
See if I ask you what's the crack,
Yes.
the default answer is not a why lot, how are you? Where people exist on a surface level, I think. But see if I ask you what's the crack, I want to know how your day went, what you had for your lunch, how you're feeling. Did anything annoy you today? What made you really happy? Like, I want to hear the actual crack. And people don't really get that.
I literally say, tell me everything, don't leave anything out. That's what I say. And they be like, I don't have time, nor do I care so much for how's your day, hope it's been good, hope you've had a good day, same. Isn't the weather right? Same. No, I can't do naps.
No.
I have no time, and I just, personally as well, I think me over messages and voice notes, I can sound quite cold. I think Steve,
You think?
just whenever I started working with Steve, he, remember you were like, I thought you were a wee bit angry, and I was like, no, that's just me. That's just the way I speak, kind of.
People say that about me too, where it's like, I don't know, I have two things going against me, size and volume.
Of?
Nah, like, I mean, because I would stand while close to you. Like, whenever I was like,
No, I'm not.
you're while wee the day, and I'm very loud. So, like, those are two things that go against me.
I'm the opposite. I don't want anyone near me. No, I am. Like, I remember being on a first date with a boy, right? And he, 36-year-old woman saying this, he tried to hold my hand. And I nearly slapped through the crack of the ground.
Really?
I find it so, I am very intimate, But there has to be a connection of some sort. I can't just run around holding hands with boys. I just can't.
I don't know what it is about me. I think I'm just too intense for 99% of people, and I can't dull down. Like, I'm always that person that's too much. I'm always that person.
So do you feel that that's always been a negative for you then?
Well, it's a negative for them, so they missed out. Hard lines to them.
Are you not dating at the minute? I suppose you don't have time to date at the minute. You're in the sky.
No, I am. No, I am. No, I've been saying so. I've been saying something a while now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought we told each other everything.
Huh?
I thought we told each other everything.
But it's a bad omen. You know what I mean? Just in case, because you don't want to build your hopes up, and then, because see, the next time we're talking, be like, what's the crack with your woman? Aye, tits up. Aye. She had issues.
No,
like the rest.
I hate that. So I'm happy for you anyway.
Thanks very much.
Not going to ask you anything off the record either about that, because we don't want to jinx it. Let's talk about you becoming a daddy then when you were only 22.
22.
How did that change you in general? Or did it change you in general?
It did. That changed my whole life. Like, don't forget, I had a classroom assistant with me from when I was 5 up to I was 16.
Right.
And see, from 16 to 22, that's only 6 years. So, like, I was barely trusted to go for a pee myself. But now I had to keep a baby alive, and he's still going. He's grand.
You're doing a good job.
He's 11 now. He's grand. He's in P7, first year in September.
Made it.
Oh my God! So I changed everything. Like I have to keep a child alive.
Yeah.
I have to. But I was like so worried. Like, what if he goes through the same stuff I went through and all that? What if he has the same struggles, the same everything? And like, I mean, we have the same diagnosis, but we're two completely different people.
Aye.
And
so would he be quieter?
He's loud, but not Jude loud.
So quieter.
He's quieter, I suppose. But he's not quiet. Like, he would know he was there.
Yes.
Like, he has a lot of my mannerisms, I think.
And you have a really good relationship as well, don't you?
Oh, we do, aye.
Because that's what I've always noticed. You've always been like besties.
Aye. I'm trying to get him. I'm going to get him to do a skydive. I want to get him to do a skydive, but he won't. I don't think he's that way inclined.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'll keep working on him, but I would love him to actually do it, because like at that stage, like after Ethan was born and everything, and you know the whole motivational speakery thing, like, oh, I had to go on a journey and I had to go on a voyage of self-discovery, of self-love, and you know all the buzzwords, right? I don't know all that, right?
Did you used to say all that, right?
I used to sell it.
Say it.
Oh, the self-love stuff.
The journey and all that. I had to go and find myself and...
wee bits, aye. Wee bits, aye. That's here and there.
I remember reading books when I was having an actual mental breakdown. I should have been in a psychiatric ward instead of reading self-help books.
Aye.
But it was like, you need to find yourself, and I thought, but where?
That's scary.
Where?
Though. Like, again, with a sort of tangent, is that as far as mental health care, now this was my bag, right? See, whenever I was in social work, most of it was in mental health. And what we've got now is we've got a really, really scary cult-like section of society that's under self-help and woo-woo and law of attraction and all this here kind of stuff, where people are ditching traditional mental health care for alternative therapies and, you know, coaching and, you know, manifesting a fucking yacht in Monaco and all this stuff, you know, thoughts become things and all that. But I'm always the person who's hard graft, hard work, a good plan, strategy and execution.
Yes.
Brings you those things. But there's a lot of unqualified, unregulated people who pay for a fancy website, put coach on their name, and then they do people out of thousands of pounds for mental health care. And guess what? I was one of those suckers. Were you ever one of those suckers? Because I was. I think it's a big issue.
No, I actually did spend time in Grangewood. Did you?
No, I was never admitted, but I've had CPNs like forever.
What was CPN? Is that like
mental health nurse? It was community psychiatric nurse then.
So I'm trying to remember now. That would have been an outpatient kind of. Would you have went on for an hour and spoke to them, or what?
A bit of both. They would have came to visit me, but because I was working for the trust at the time, they came to my house. I didn't go into the outpatient like the clinics or the medication clinics or anything like that.
Remember, I was telling you, I was diagnosed. This is all my notes. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I don't have that.
Like, obviously, I'm not a clinician or a psychiatrist, but like in the work I'm doing now, I am speaking to a couple of borderlines, and they're not you.
Aye. So
they're not you. Like, it's just to me, in any borderlines I've ever met, it's so far off. But here's the thing, like, there's a lot of biases, like even what everybody's favourite word now in mental health or relationships or self-healing and all that is narcissists.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, had this conversation.
A narcissist is not what you think it is. People think that a narcissist is the, you know, very showy, our selfies at the gym, guns out, sock down the boxers. No. These people
I think me and you have had our own dealings. We had this conversation before. We've both had our dealings with narcissists in our life, and it's not what you've just described.
These are people in caring professions. These are pillars of the community.
Yes.
These are lovely people that look at me, look how wonderful I am, and all this here and everything. Where typically I've, in all my time, because you would think with TikTok and stuff like that, that narcissists are absolutely everywhere. They're in every gym, they're in every sports shop and everywhere else. And they aren't. They're in caring professions and, you know, being the lovely smiling face of various different things.
Did I ever tell you, I think this is the first time I'm ever saying this out loud on the pod, I was trolled by a psychiatric nurse.
Really? But then again, though, see the Be Kind Brigade, the ones that say that send me messages. Like, see if I put up the video yesterday, you know, of my backflip. Like, I have loads of haters because sometimes I say, like, whenever I'm giving advice to parents and stuff like that, you know, they blame everything else. It's the school's fault. It's everybody's fault. But not my fault for not having boundaries or whatever else. Like, I literally got a message yesterday, you know, the backflip, you know, putty didn't land on your head. What? And then you go onto your profile, Be Kind.
Oh no.
They see the Be Kind Brigade. Some of them are the worst.
And this is what scares me about not just mental health or just small cities in general, is confidentiality.
Aye.
It's not a thing.
No,
your
it's not.
dentist assistant will be able to guess who was on the day. Her molars, this, that, now. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
It could be small city things. It could be a dairy thing. I don't know. But I have just lost total trust in the mental health system anyway. And I've never received any beneficial mental health from anything in there either, which again is why I started the podcast. Who I received my help with when I was going through the worst of the worst were normal people like me and you who had been going through it, were given advice, checking on daily, my family, which is really sad because the mental health in Derry, I mean, we're on our knees.
And the situation that we're in now is if you need help, you have to go private.
Yes.
Which, at the end of the day, it's not a bad thing for those who can afford it. And whenever I was working for the trust, sure, we were out on strike at least twice a year. Sure, when do you ever see the private sector out on strike? Never.
Never, no.
Because the quality's good, they're paid well, and the conditions are good, and with the NHS it just isn't. Wish it was different, but it's not.
No.
And
So,
we're screwed where we are. See now, right, let's say you wanted to go and get counselling, psychotherapy, whatever else, you're going to be in a waiting list for years.
Oh no, I just do that private now.
Aye, for years. Yeah. And that therein lies the problem. So see the lovely people that are doing their best and moving heaven, hell and earth to try and give some people who are really struggling with their emotional well-being and their mental health a better quality of life. Getting access to those people can take years and years and years and years. But that is the way that we're going. Which does beg a lot of questions. There are a lot of mental health charities. Like even I say about autism, ADHD charities and stuff like that. Like, what's the real impact? Because this crisis is getting worse.
I had this conversation today again, actually.
This is getting worse and worse and worse and worse because society's splitting into sort of like two camps. So we're like a camp that's out there, that's laying it all out on the table, that's saying, this is what's helped us, this is what it's like. And then you've got the offended camp that are just triggered by everything, who need our message the most.
Yes.
You know, and are just really, really triggered by everything. So we're getting to this stage of an impasse where I am starting to get to a point where I'm like, God, I'm nearly starting to have a fear of talking about things.
Aye.
Because these people are going to be triggered, offended and upset. And what path do you take? Say, look, if you're offended, fuck you. I'm still going to talk. Feel free to unfollow. Feel free to walk away. At this stage, if you're coming on to Jude Morrow's page or Jude Morrow's gig, you know what you're getting at this point. But at the same time, at what stage does it get where you're just upsetting people?
Yeah.
And stuff like that, because, hard truths are hard truths, and people are finding that harder and harder to do, even in a professional capacity.
But if you really believe in what you're saying and your message,
100%.
then you need to shout it. And if people want to unfollow you, then that's what they can do.
They can, but it's like, I've always asked myself, how do we make it better? How do we make it better? And the only thing I can think of is regulating social media. Social media is the big thing. Because it's all fake as fuck, right? Because it's like everything I put up, it's everything that goes well, right? I do like my food, and I do like putting up dishes. Like, see if I overcook or burn something, that ain't going on the gram, right? It's only going to be the perfect medium rare steak and the palm anna and the carrot puree that's making it onto the gram. See the fucking dog shite messed up dinner that I made? That's going nowhere, and it's all fake, and people compare, and people feel like failures and stuff like that.
I think I've spoke about this on every single podcast that I've done so far. Is, do you feel social media has a negative effect on you? Because personally, again, I say it in every podcast, it does to me. I am a full grown woman, and I know better than to be comparing myself to airbrushed models. Now, see, if you're on your For You page or whatever, and you see all these women, and they're all in their bikinis and they're all loving life, they're all perfect, absolutely perfect, not a blemish on them. Do you ever see them in real life?
Oh, aye.
But I mean, do you?
They look completely different.
But do you ever see anyone that perfect in real life? Where are all these perfect people? They don't exist.
No. But that's the problem, is that they talk about like a mental health crisis. I suppose, yes, that's partially right. Really what it is, it's a self-esteem crisis and a validation crisis where, you always see, like, whether it's Instagram stories or social media content, people are looking for validation all the time.
Yeah.
And people just can't be happy in themselves anymore.
It's harder.
And I would say, in some respects, I can be guilty of that. I suppose we all can to a certain extent. But with some people, it's just at a debilitating level where they need validation and praise and attention for everything that they do in life. And it's sad, and it's always looking at, why have we got to this point? Why have we got to it? And I suppose if people have been spent their whole lives like cast aside, or not having a voice, or not being seen or heard, now anybody can be seen and heard doing absolutely anything at any point of the day, which is both empowering and completely terrifying.
At the same time, you're kind of stuck in the middle, going, "Oh, this is amazing," then you're going on the next one, going, "This is bizarre."
So see, whenever we take over the country, will we ban it? Will we ban social media?
I would love, do you know what I would love? I would love, you have to be 16 or 18 to be allowed to on social media. Same as alcohol. You should have to be a certain age to access it on your phone. And I feel there should be like a genuine, like I do have timers on my phone, it'll bell, your time is up for Instagram, and I always just go whack it away.
Is your self-control crap?
I just be busy.
Same.
I nosy. Busy and nosy. But I work from my phone, you see, so it looks a lot like I am sitting scrolling, but I'm actually not. I'm messaging an email and checking this bank and checking this person, But I really would love there to be an actual thing on your phone where it just knocks off and you cannot get on any social media for, say after an hour or two a day.
You can. There are apps like that. I can't remember what it was called, but then I just kept going to my laptop. Then because
that's true addiction. Because we are addicted to our phones.
Aye.
I am addicted to my phone.
I'm addicted to my phone.
Aye. I'm constantly it's right here.
I'm at the stage of people are reading a paper book.
Oh no, I read books. I don't read Kindles.
You see, I think that's why ditzy.
I am ditzy. I have a library in my room.
Aye.
I'm a nerd.
I just think I am a screen addict. And that's where we are. We're see, whenever we were growing up, we were the last generation of going out to the street to play, of actually conversing with other humans realizing that there's ups and downs of life, that we have to do things in life that we're uncomfortable with, and like connecting with the world around us.
Yes.
Where, you know, there's this whole thing about social media. Oh, we're better connected than ever before. We're more distant than we ever were before. And like, do you know what they do? Here's your homework from your Uncle Jude. Watch The Matrix. Watch The Matrix.
Why? I don't think I've ever watched
Being
that.
plugged into The Matrix. You've never seen The Matrix? Seriously.
I don't have the patience to watch it. Follow me now.
Well, that's like The Matrix. Though.
Do you?
The Matrix is a class. It depends what the film is. If I'm really interested.
No, I have to. Documentaries for me, I'd probably get an hour max at the cinema. I'm coming towards the end. I'm looking around and going.
I'm partial to a good documentary. What were we on about? We're on about The Matrix.
So
we're plugged into The Matrix. Like this artificial world that's presented whatever way it wants to be presented.
Okay.
Right? Because you haven't seen the film, it might be lost on you.
Yeah,
it might be, but for the people listening, it's so true. It's nearly 30 years old, and the idea is we're becoming more disconnected.
Is it like AI?
Kind of
AI.
Where there's the real world and then The Matrix.
Yes.
And The Matrix is this fake bullshit world that can be created and programmed through AI and whatever else.
I was having this conversation with my nieces yesterday. They're 22, 27, and they were showing me this girl. She was dancing around her bedroom with a big bunch of flowers that her boyfriend got her. Did like this Fergie song in the background. And I was like, this person set her phone like this, got the flowers, danced like this, went over, turned her phone off, and then sat down and then sat the flowers down. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
It's
like, why are you putting on this 10-second performance?
For everybody.
Flowers? Do you know what I mean? This might be an age thing for us, but that's what the young ones are doing. Running out of time. Knew this would happen. Let's get on to the Neurodiversity Training Academy. Not Academy. What's the correct?
NTI, Neurodiversity Training International, yeah.
That you found it?
You
just found it in the street one day?
I found it. I picked it up. But you know what? I didn't pick it up. It found me.
Okay.
Because see, after the first book came out, like I was still on social work at the time, and it came out, and then it was at the top of the Amazon chart. It was good fun.
I thought you would have brought me a signed copy. I have a copy of...
You do? I brought you a signed copy.
No way.
Yeah.
Stop.
When it came out.
What do you mean when it came out?
I remember you asked for one, and I brought it to your house, which I'll not say on camera.
You're right.
But I did.
You're at West End. You're right.
There we go.
I do have it then amongst my stuff. Sorry.
Yes.
What I meant was the other book that I have. Your newest book.
The Dan Cooper one, the DB Cooper one. Oh, that's a good one.
No, the paramedic. The
Ghost of Rise Past. That's book number 3.
Sorry.
You're tripping over all my books.
Tripping over. I sent you a picture of it, Sheriff.
So you did?
A few months ago, and I said,
can
you sign this?
Where is it? Did you bring it?
No, I didn't. Forgot. Sorry, I was late.
I love that. So, what was the question again?
The company that you own, you just found it in the street one day?
No, whenever that first book came out, like, I expected nothing. But then it just took off because apparently the idea of an autistic person saying that being autistic's not too bad was just both revolting and revolutionary at the same time. I got so much hate. People were saying it was grotesque. People were saying it was crazy. It's like, well, what are you doing? Like,
were they kind of saying he is glamorising being autistic?
Yes.
Almost?
Yes. That's what it was. Where, why are you glamorising this? It wasn't the word glamorising, it's why are you glorifying it? Why are you glorifying this? Our children are struggling and all else. And I was like, but my struggles were very much the same. But do you know what I did? I pulled up the big girl pants and got the fuck on with it. And here I am. And it's worked out all right. I wasn't mollycoddled or put in a bubble wrap suit.
You created this...
People were asking me to speak at schools and go on to, like, people were like saying, oh, will you come in and do it as an assembly or talk to our teachers and whatever else. And then all of a sudden, enough people were phoning that I thought, right.
I could do a business out of this.
This could work. And then around that time, Ethan was struggling at school. And I was like, God, I need to do something. And again, waiting lists for everything were several years. And I thought, right, I'm going to have to go private. Right, now, I'm going to tell you something. I am and always have been completely flat broke. Like, I'm not rolling on it. Nobody's getting rich out of what I do at all. Like, that's it. Like, I mean, I've been fucking bankrupted and everything. And I needed to go private for a diagnostic assessment. Right. So I wasn't working as a social worker at the time. I'd left. my business was making nothing. We had no investment, we had no nothing, no anything at that time. I was the only employee at that time.
Right.
And I had bad credit, no savings, anything. And I had to scrape together money to get Ethan through it. And then I thought, right, well, I do like the one-to-one consultancy, but what if we can partner with other clinics that could offer payment plans, could help people who on universal credit, people that had a poor credit history and everything else. And then that's what we built. So we partnered with clinics so people can get a recognised, affordable diagnostic assessment of autism or ADHD for themselves if they were an adult or a child, without extortionate fees, without it being rejected and everything else, without having to wait and hope.
So what we'll do as well, because we need to wrap it up. I will put
Time
I know,
just vanished.
doesn't it? We can spend 5 hours together.
I know we can.
I will put a link to the
NTI.
yes NTI.
The NTI page.
People can have a look at it as well. I could have spoke to you all night, Jude. And I will, because when the camera goes off,
we'll keep chatting.
We'll talk shit about everybody.
I know.
Good. Thank you so much, though, for coming on.
Oh, thank you. Maybe
Give my time. Give
maybe
your
part
time.
2. Maybe part 2. Season 4 or 5. I
Doesn't
know.
have to be.
Right.
But
and congratulations on coming out. I'm not
I'll
surprised.
coming out. And I'm coming out of the closet with my new. No, I don't know yet. I'm in the very, very early early.
I don't know yet.
I am. Hello. I am. No, but thank you, Jude. You've always been so gracious to me with your time. Like, always, no matter what, if I had a message to you, even if it was in the middle of the night, you would have always got back, and you always so kind. And if I ever needed help with business advice or life advice, you were always there for me as a friend. And I was just thinking about that today. So thank you so much for just being an amazing human and an amazing friend as well.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. And congrats on the lovely home and podcast.
Thank you so much.